Today's lesson reviews the SCORE communication principles one can utilize for more effective conversations. The SCORE communication principles are a set of guidelines for communicating effectively and appropriately across cultures. It is designed to be an easy-to-remember checklist for communicating in global settings and can be used by speakers and listeners to minimize miscommunications. As a result of working with this model, you will understand how to improve two-way communication across cultures. 2. Learn 5 ways to improve the quality of communication as a speaker and a listener. And 3. Have a clear model to guide the communication forward. So the key focus of this presentation is on how to communicate successfully. The acronym SCORE, or S-C-O-R-E, stands for S. Simplify and specify. C. Clarify and confirm. O. Organize and outline. R. Rephrase and reframe. And E. Explain with examples. This acronym can help individuals remember some of the key principles of communicating effectively across cultures, can be used by a speaker and listener in a conversation, and ideally should be employed by both. Much miscommunication happens across cultures because the language is hard to understand or details are not specific. Suggestions on how to make your communication as easy to understand as possible include 1. Aim for short sentences that are 12 words or less. 2. Simplify complicated language. 3. Make time zones, locations, and deadlines clear in emails. And 4. Limit use of acronyms and idioms, and when used, specify what they mean. It is not uncommon for two people to think they understand each other when each has a different understanding of the situation. It is therefore important to continually clarify what you are intending to communicate and confirm that this is, in fact, what the other person understands. Suggestions on how to ensure the message you are delivering is clear and understood include: clarify often what you are trying to say. 2. Check regularly that you understand the other person by saying, for example, so what you are saying is, or could you clarify that last point? And 3. Check to ensure the other person has understood you. For example, you could ask, what is your understanding so far? When our communication is structured and organized into different sections and key points, it becomes easier for others to understand the main points we are making and to follow our communication. Suggestions when structuring your communication include: 1. Number or letter key ideas to divide them into the main points. 2. When face-to-face, use your hands and gestures to help structure key points you are making. 3. State the purpose of your email in the subject line. And 4. Use headings to organize different topics within an email. Providing multiple ways of saying the same thing increases the chances of our being understood. Suggestions on providing alternative ways of saying the same thing include: 1. If saying something one way doesn't work, try a different way. And 2. Use analogies, metaphors, and stories when helpful in making a point. You could say, for example, or ask, it's a lot like software update, and continue on with that. Providing the rationale behind our thinking can make our intentions clearer to others. By using examples to illustrate our point, and sometimes literally illustrating our point through drawings and visuals, our message becomes clearer. Suggestions for reinforcing key concepts with explanations and examples include: 1. When you present an idea or make a request, provide the why behind it. For example, you could say, here's why getting the step right in the process is critical. 2. As much as possible, provide examples that bring these to life. And 3. Provide visual examples by drawing ideas on paper or showing images. The point in presenting to you the SCORE principles is not necessarily to always employ all these principles at the same time, but to think about which have the highest likelihood of increasing the chances of clear communication at a given moment. For example, imagine you are trying to explain a complex process to a colleague located across the globe, and you realize that he or she is struggling to understand all the components of the process. At this juncture, rather than give examples and further explain the process, your best strategy is likely to organize and outline it by numbering the main steps. For example, you could say, essentially, there are 4 steps in this quality control process. That's an example. Once the overall structure has been clarified, it may then be helpful to bring in examples and explain each step in the process. These principles can be used by speakers and listeners alike with slight modifications. For example, a speaker can clarify by saying, for example, what I am trying to say is. A listener can achieve the same thing by asking, for example, I think I understand. Are you saying that, ... A speaker can organize his or her thoughts by saying, for example, there are 2 main challenges here. And then you continue on with the conversation. If the speaker doesn't do this, the listener can also organize and outline what is being heard with a similar statement. For example, so it sounds like there are 2 main challenges here. And then continue on. When both communicators apply these principles and work to develop a common understanding, the chances for miscommunication are reduced. What each principle looks like in different cultures and contexts will vary. Rephrasing in a low context culture, for example, will often simply involve stating the same message again with slightly different wording. In a higher context culture, the use of analogies and even nonverbal body language may be most effective and appropriate to rephrase the communication so it is understood. Moreover, we need to adapt how we achieve these principles to the situations, contexts, and cultures we are in. For example, if an indirect speaker is subtly giving feedback about the quality of a meeting, it could cause loss of face to clarify and confirm what the person is saying by asking, for example, are you saying you don't think this was a good meeting? However, to be more effective, the best approach may be to approach the person after the meeting to try to gently confirm the feedback. In this way, you are still clarifying understanding, but in a culturally appropriate way. Thank you for your attention. Next, please take the SCORE Communication Self-Assessment Survey located at this link. Thank you, and I'll talk to you later.